Hi everyone. Today we're making, I'm Wendy. This is Christopher. He doesn't like to be put on the spot. But we're making low carb blueberry muffins today. And plus bubble tea. And we've made that low carb as well. So we're going to get started because the muffins were from last week. And we don't always do this every Friday because we have appointments and, we do it when we do it. So we're going to get started. So here we go. So Chris, go ahead, son. So mix up this, please. So we have almond flour in there. Sweetener, sugar, and baking powder, and I will post the recipe, of course. Maybe use this one. You're having a hard time with that. Just give it a good stir, please. And the oven is preheating on 350. Okay, pass that other bowl here, please. The other bowl right here. So we've doubled this recipe. Chris, no, leave that in. Hang on, I need another bowl. Turns out. Okay, pour the flour in there, please. Use your red spoon that I gave you. Get it all out. It's expensive stuff. Almond flour's like 18 bucks a bag for like 4 cups, something like that. Okay. So we've got that. Now put in your berries. 2 cups of blueberries. You can use your spoon, Chris. This one here. Use your spoon. Okay. And now we're going to put in the eggs. Pour the eggs in there. And the melted butter. So that's almond flour, sweetener, baking soda, baking powder that is. And now we're going to mix it all up. And you've got the berries in there. So you need to mix it all up. Oh, the Zoom is starting there. Chris, your friends are on. Chris is Zoom cooking there today. So anyways, we've lost Chris because the computer is on and his Zoom class is starting. And that's who we're making. Okay, let me put the video on for him. Here, let's see, guys. You can see what I'm doing. Okay, say hi, Chris. Chris is saying hi to his friends.
Hello. Very good.
So anyways, the batter's done already. so it's ready to go in the muffin tins. Chris, come and fill up the muffin tins. And use a spoon. Okay. I'm gonna help you actually. Can people see? Okay, here. Okay, fill up the muffin tins. Can you see them, guys? And in the bubble tea that we're going to be making today, we're going to cook some tapioca, and I've replaced the brown sugar with Swerve brown sugar. This is a substitute. Like, I'll post a picture of it, but that's better than Sugar Twin brown sugar that I've learned. It's actually way less carbs. So I started the water for the tapioca already. Anyways, so some of our new viewers, you might not know, I'm still diabetic. I almost said I'm used to be diabetic, but I used to be on medications, lots of medications, diabetes, insulin and metformin. But through eating low carb, and you know, that means none of the whites, no sugar, no flour, no bread, no rice, no pasta, none of that. I use replacements. And that brought my sugar level right down. And of course, walking, you know, that kickstarts your metabolism, and that keeps your engine burning at night when you're asleep, because it's going to burn off that sugar. And that's what you need. And before long, you'll be off meds yourself. That's the way to do it nowadays, people, because that insulin and metformin's not curing anything. If you're still eating all that stuff and you're diabetic, actually damage is being done every single day to your veins, your nerves, you know, which eventually leads to strokes and heart attacks and early death. We can avoid all that just by replacing the things we eat, because there's too much sugar in everything. Okay, now we can put that in the oven. Okay, show everyone what you did. Show everybody. Awesome. Okay, put that in the oven now. And that's going to go in for 25 minutes. on. And so now we're going to keep working on this bubble tea. So Chris, you got to put, right here son, you got to put your tapioca in there. Go ahead. And you can stir that around. You gotta keep stirring it. Yeah, keep stirring it. So the this is homemade bubble tea, and it calls for 1 cup. His 2 cups. 2 bags of black tea, 1/3 cup of brown sugar, a 1/2 cup of milk, and a 1/4 cup of tapioca, which we're cooking now. And then we're going to make a syrup out of the brown sugar that goes in there as well. Okay. So we've got to cook that to a consistency. But anyways, while that's cooking, we'll talk to you. Like I said, Chris lost 100 pounds this past year. Keep going. You gotta keep stirring it. You do it. No. He's trying to give up. Here's your tea. You gotta put your tea. Put your tea beside it. No, put it down here. Chris is trying to take off. I'm not letting him. That's gotta cook. Keep cooking that. Okay, go talk to your friends then. I've never made tapioca before. But anyways, Chris has lost 100 pounds this past year. Well, actually it's 120 now. He's 200 pounds because when we first started, he was over 300 because our scale only went up to 300. So I always figured he was about 320 when we started. Now he's at 200. And again, that was just with low carb, walking, and intermittent fasting. And how I got my son to do intermittent fasting was I put off breakfast as long as I could. So so he would have his last meal at supper time. Us, we eat about 4 o'clock, 4 or 5. And so that would be his last meal. So then by 5 in the morning, that's already 12 hours that he fasted. So by the time he ate breakfast, that was, you know, after we got back from our walk, I timed it. In the early days, I timed it because when he woke up, I didn't want him to have breakfast right away. I wanted to extend that fast. So that's why we would go for a walk like at about 8:30, so that by the time we got back, it would be like 10 or 11 that he would have breakfast. And that's how he did it. And that's the fastest way to lose weight. And it's so good for your body. There's so many health benefits to fasting. And that's how I got my sugar under control very fast, because I did the same thing along with Christopher. I did exactly the same thing. I used to eat 2 meals a day just like him. And but that formula is no longer working for me because our body gets used to things that we do and we kind of plateau, and so we have to step it up a little bit more because we're almost at our goals. We're not quite there yet, but we're not going to stop. We've made a lifestyle change and we're never ever going to go back to how we used to eat. And it's just a lot better, like, because once you get all that sugar out of your system, which all carbs tend to sugar, like all the, especially, you know, the pasta, you know, the rice, worst thing to eat. Anything with flour, breads, all that stuff, it all turns to sugar in your blood. And for a diabetic, it's very dangerous. And so if you're taking medications like insulin and metformin, and you're still eating everything, it's not helping you. But I don't want you to just quit that medication, because if you're not eating right the way you should be as a diabetic, low carb and no sugar, you got to bring down your sugar. You know, that's what that medication is doing. It's bringing down your sugar. And but you're going high every day. If that's how your lifestyle is and you never stop that food, you're going up every day, and you're probably not going down very low, because if you're eating at all hours of the night, if you're snacking at night, and you don't have any period of a fasting time, you're not giving your pancreas a break. And because what's happening is you're diabetic because there's too much sugar in your body. Your body can't cope with it anymore. You become diabetic. And so for those of you that are not diabetic, you have a chance to, you know, change things now. But if you already are diabetic, your pancreas is working like 24 hours a day, because what it's doing, it's, I wish I had my pen here because visuals, but like a pen, like a clicky pen, it's spitting out insulin, trying to cope with all that sugar in your body, you know, from your potatoes, from your bread, from your sweet drinks. It's trying to cope with that. And so it's constantly going. So that's why fasting is so important, you know, after your last meal, because you're giving your body a chance to get rid of that sugar. And what's been explained to me is you can't burn sugar and fat at the same time. Your body is it needs to burn the sugar first before it ever gets to the fat. So, you know, all you people that are working out like crazy here but eating everything, wow, you're really spinning your wheels. And I did that for years, believe me. And that's the formula. And you get used to it. Like, it's a gradual change. I remember how overwhelming it was for me in the beginning to shop for the food, cook for the food, you know. I was just overwhelmed, and I was recording my numbers, because I actually got addicted to recording my numbers there, because I could just see the drop, the sugar going down, like what I was doing was working, and before you know it, I was off all medications. And when I discovered that, you know, that I could control this diabetes, I could control the sugars in my body, you know, it's by what we eat, and that exercise is very important. You know, I was pretty shocked by it all, because no health person ever told me how to do it. They just give me the medications, and I was left on my own. And I'll tell you, I didn't take care of my diabetes for the first 5 years, because like so many, I was actually really traumatized by becoming diabetic, because it was induced in me. But because I have such a family history that is devastating, like it's trauma based for me, because I've lost my entire family on my mother's side to diabetes at a very young age. And you know, I mention that because it's such a loss for our family, you know, to have your children not grow up with grandparents and extended family, like uncles like that. It's really, really sad that I'm older than what my uncles were when they passed away to diabetes, and they never got to meet a lot of their grandchildren, and it's really sad. But the thing is, we can change this, because Diabetes Canada declared diabetes an epidemic for all Canadians. Now that's changed, because it used to be just us, Native people, at epidemic crisis levels, and that's been since the 80s. So we all know people that have died young, in their 50s and their 60s, and we're starting to see in their 40s, we're starting to see children become diabetic. And I've got the timer on for the muffins, so we're okay there. I'm going to post the finished products later, and but I don't want to keep everybody long. I just want you to know that I do say my prayers in the morning, and I ask for help if I'm to say anything, and that I pray that it comes from Spirit, not myself. And but one of the things I thought about today was, we're living in history-making times. 2020 brought us the plague. Let's face it, it brought us the plague. And our people have survived that before, but many of us did lose their lives. And this is happening again. And the best thing you can do is to take care of your health. I really believe in that, because they do say that if you have underlying conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, just for two, that you're going to have a harder time if you get that COVID. And even if you're double vaccinated, I've just recently learned, you can still get sick. You can still get the COVID. And the best thing you can do to prepare yourself is to take care of your health. If there's ever been a time in history where we need to kind of wake up, and not be in such a rush to go back to the way things were, let's take this opportunity to work on our health. And this COVID is not going away for a while yet, even if you are vaccinated, because these B variants and all that. But that's what I just wish for people. Help yourself, help your family. And I'll always remember COVID as being the year that my son lost 200 pounds, because I kept him home from program, and I didn't want him to just be sitting in the house not getting any fresh air, and in front of his games, because he's a big gamer himself. And never made tapioca. I want to see. They said cook it to your desired consistency. Like, I won't be having any of this, but because I think there is a little bit sugar in there. No, it's still hard. Yeah, and I wanted to get him out, and we walked all winter. Didn't matter if it was 30 below. We walked all winter, and it was such a beautiful experience, to be outside. And it really healed me in so many different ways that I can't even express yet. I can't even find the words. And but that's creation doing its job. And so I'm just going to leave it there, because that's my wish. I with the loss and the latest findings of these children, it affected me as well. because of course I was in residential school, my mom was, my grandmother was, and I'm sure even the generations before were there. And so we're going to be filling this loss for a while because they're going to find more children. But I had about a week there where I had to grieve and do what I could to feel better about that. And I turned to a little bit to comfort food. Even myself, I'm not perfect, I cook when I feel good, and if I don't feel good, that's when I'm tempted to order something, and that's usually a bad thing. And that's how I actually justify buying these high-priced things like $18 flour. I don't know. I can't remember. $10 maybe for this brown sugar. There's a little higher cost to it, but we're worth it. And because even those two things are still cheaper than one takeout order that I might get. So anyways, we're going to keep cooking every once in a while. I only post my meals when I cook something different or a different variation of something. But this is a lifestyle. We're never going back to how we ate before. Chris is a different person. He went back to program for a few weeks before we got shut down here again. And they said he came back a different person. And I believe it because I saw the transformation. They said his spirit is just like so happy and so light, and I know he feels confidence, and he just feels healthier and better. And we were just as guilty of all these years of thinking we were treating him with food. They may ask for a cheeseburger or a pizza or fries and gravy or stuff like that, or a Slurpee, but show them something else. Put your love into, preparing an alternative for them, and they're going to like it and they're going to appreciate it. Change takes time, but just maybe cut out one thing. It's not overnight. It wasn't overnight for me either. It took time. And but now it's established, and it's established for my son. So anyways, I'm gonna post everything. I'll see how this bubble tea turns out, and I'll show you the pictures. But you have a good weekend and stay safe. Miigwech.